it's not always going to be those great things that you remember. Sure, there's going to be a number of those that will really stick out. Like, I have a moment, just because the Lions tests are on over in Australia at the moment. We went to one of the Lions matches with my dad back when I was, 14, 15, and got to see Dan Carter's breakout.
Yeah,
one of the best,
that would stick out. Yeah.
And so, that obviously sticks out. But a lot of stuff is just everyday moments, sitting around the dinner table, having conversations. And I think sometimes we almost take that stuff for granted. Like, you don't always have to make it a massive learning experience. As you talked about, just doing something with you is a learning experience. And I think we often forget that because these are things that to us are dull, mundane, repetitive. We don't realize that actually in the mind of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many year old, sometimes this is the first time they've done that thing. Like, they've never been into, for example, a joinery before. So they've never seen guys working on a lathe or, aluminium windows being made. They've only seen windows in a house. Like, for me growing up, that would have been one of the things that I, saw a bit of. And I got to go walk around the factory, do some sweeping and whatever it was to clean up. But that was an experience that I had. But, if it was going to be, well, Hayden's going to be so much slower, not vacuuming, sweeping the floor, let's just do it ourselves, But I kind of got to see that, and that's part of the process. But then also, just doing everyday tasks, that's when you often get to have those conversations. When you're sitting in the back of the car with dad or with mum or whoever it might be, you actually get to have the conversations. And we often talk about, talking to our kids about meaningful things or whatever it might be, trying to have these meaningful conversations. Those often happen organically when you're just given time and given space and given a chance. It could be sitting on the couch, they're doing their thing, you're doing your thing, and you're just with them. And so they ask you a question, or you talk about something about your day or about something you've done. And so, I've tried as much as possible to be more present in those times because of that. So, it's not don't ever be on my phone, but it's, hey, if you can find ways that actually when you get home from work, after a day, don't pull it out until they've gone to bed, find a way that you can kind of actually be present, because that everyday time is so important. And, I think it's the stuff you're going to look back on and really miss, is coming home and just sitting on the couch, with your kid, or play fighting with the 4-year-old when he jumps on you, and kicks you in the arm. All those moments are going to be the bits that they happen every single day for hundreds of days on end. But by the same token, they're going to be probably the stuff that you miss more than taking them to a big rugby game, that's kind of the way that I look at it anyway, is the stuff, how can you find ways for yourself to be present in those moments? What are the distractions you might need to remove? What are some perspectives you might need to change? And, people have talked to me about, and I've done this myself before too, when you come home, have almost that time in the car as your time to process what's happened in your day, think through those things. But then when you walk through that door, your dad, you're no longer whatever your job title is, your dad. And until, I always think of it we only get if you're working a full-time job, right, and you get home at say 4:30 to 5:30, maybe 6, the kids are in bed by 7 or 8. You've literally got a couple of hours with them in the afternoon during the week, and maybe an hour or so with them in the morning during the week, while you're trying to do dinner, trying to do baths, trying to do all these things. And so you've got to be present for that, because it's so easy to miss an entire day, because you've decided that, hey, I'm tired today, I'm just going to pull out my phone for an hour and just chill. The kids are happy playing with whatever, and not go and engage in that. So it's easy to say that as well, right? Because you will be tired and you will be a bit exhausted, because that's life as a parent. But trying to find some ways, and it could be a specific hour that you put your phone away, you don't pull it out, you chuck it in your room when you get home until the kids have gone to bed, or, whatever that distraction might be for you, it could be the TV, you just go sit down in front of the TV. Well, don't turn it on until, an hour after being home, half an hour after being home. Give yourself the time to actually have that interaction and that, meaningful time that is just every day, dull time, playing, whatever it might be. It might not look like anything at the moment, but actually that's how you form the bond. That's how you form the relationship. And that's how the kids kind of, trust you. You can talk to them, them. You can talk, who their kids' friends are at daycare, and you can actually ask them about specific names and were they there today? And some of that stuff, it sounds really obvious, but I think actually trying to make it happen and being intentional, and that's probably the word that I've come back to so much.
That's a great word.
Over the course of this entire podcasting process and parenthood, is just intentional.